All right, welcome everyone back to Python Advanced classes. It's been a few weeks since I last did this class. It's because my computer exploded and also I had a couple of odd jobs for this new Channel 9 TV show called Future Fixes, which will be airing after the NRL Grand Finals in October. So really looking forward to sharing more on that in the next few months. Because that's how long it takes for a TV show to be made. But in the meantime, Python is back, and I've decided to log on a little bit earlier so that, more people get a chance to jump online and catch the stream. If you have any questions, make sure you post it into the comment section or chat in the chat box. You can also send me some suggestions in emails as well. Okay, last few weeks I've been posting some videos from my teacher Python classes. They're still beginners classes, but they're much more brisk in the pacing. And that was what I was doing with the Hillcrest High School in California. So that's really, really cool too. Make sure you check that out if you have time. You want to brush up on your Python basics. But of course, today we are going to do some harder Python, not so much of the easy stuff. And also, thanks to a request by user Lammy the Lemon, I'm going to do a little bit of a review on sets as well. Sets are a very little used grouping data type. And we can definitely check out how sets are used. And hopefully we can make tonight a really interesting night for everybody. Now, let's have a look at our Python. Okay, make sure that you set up your screen like I have. We have your shell on one side and then your Python file on the other. And today we are going to look at some OUCC challenge questions. OUCC, all right, Oxford University Computing Challenge, has some interesting Python questions that can also be done using C++ or Java or whatever language of your choosing. It can even be done in Blockly as well. So let's have a look at this first question that we're going to investigate. It's called Marathon Runner. A marathon runner wants to ensure she stays hydrated after her runs. She wants to drink 30 mils of water every mile. And for every completed 3 miles, she wants to drink an additional 10 milliliters of water. The task is we need to write a program that takes an input, the number of miles run, and outputs how much water she would need to drink. The input format is in integer from 0 to 100, representing the number of miles that she's run. 100 miles is quite an epic run. I'm not sure if she'll ever run 100 miles. And then the output format is another integer representing the amount of water in milliliters she should drink. Okay, for example, if she runs 16 miles, she should drink 530 milliliters of water, which is not that much water actually for the amount of miles that she's running, but she must be quite the athlete to be able to measure out her required dosage of water. We're going to wait for another couple of minutes while people start arriving before we tackle this question head on. But let's have a look at the second question we are going to look at today as well. Okay, second question is Pig Latin. Now, Pig Latin is one of those original hard questions because not only do you need to understand the rules of Pig Latin, you also need to translate it into code, which is definitely not simple for a newbie. Basically, Pig Latin is a language made by modifying English words. If the letter starts with a consonant, it's anything other than A, E, I, O, U, then we remove the first letter of the word add a hyphen to the end of the word, add the removed letter, and then add AY. But if the letter starts with a vowel, we just add hyphen yay to the end of the word. So it's quite easy for vowels, like vowel starting words like egg, it would just be egg yay, right? Egg hyphen yay. But if it was a word that starts with a consonant, like, I don't know, dog, then we need to remove the first letter, so it becomes og, and then we add the hyphen, and then we re-add the removed letter, so it's og d, and then we add ay at the end, so dog becomes og day. Both of these are challenging in their own ways, but obviously the Pig Latin one will require more work. The first one, the marathon runner, is going to be a little bit easier. And if you are just joining right now, welcome back. I've got a new computer now. It's not going to be as laggy. And we are going to tackle a couple of questions from OUCC. And then we're going to have a look at some sets, which are grouping variables in Python that we hardly ever use, but they're very useful nonetheless. If you have any questions, make sure you post it in on the chat, and feel free to ask me to slow down or speed up as you require. And of course, if you have missed any of the lesson, you can rewatch the replay at any time, because you are all members, and members can rewatch all my lessons on replay. Okay, let's start with that first question, marathon runner. Okay, so we need to make it so that this program inputs a number, an integer, and then we need to output the amount of water that our athlete needs to drink. All right, let's get started. First of all, we need to write a function. Okay, so we go def, and then we're going to call my function, let's say marathon liters, marathon milliliters, marathon drink. Let's just go marathon drink. Marathon drink. We gotta use proper Python convention, and then we're gonna add millis in here. Oh no, miles. Miles run. So how are we going to tackle this? Let's think about this this question again. It says that for every mile she runs, she drinks 30 milliliters of water. So that first part is actually super simple, because you're already taking the number of miles in as the input. We just need to multiply it by 30 to get the number of milliliters. All right, it's that second part that might require a little bit of thinking. Okay, so let's get back in here. Whoops, what happened to my computer? Here we go. All right. So we're going to first of all start with our result. Okay, our result milliliters equals 0, because that's what we are going to export. We're going to go return mils at the end, or we can go return mils. Sorry. All right. So here we just say mils plus equals miles multiplied by 10. 10? 30. Was it 30? 10. Gotta double check again. It is 30 for every mile. 30. Sorry about that. 30 milliliters for every mile. So if I plug this in right now, if I go print marathon drink and then 16 miles, it should come up with 16 multiplied by 30 mils. So here, Control S to save, F5 to run. So 480 mils. But now I need to add so that every 3 completed miles, we include an extra 10 milliliters. So how do we do that? We need to find out how many 3 miles are in my 16 miles, right? Or in whatever number of miles that I input. So I need to divide the number of miles by 3. We have a problem. If I divide the number of miles by 3, I'm going to get a weird decimal at the end. So I only want to get the quotient. I don't want to get that remainder. I only want that big number at the start. Okay? And if I do that, there's 2 ways to do that easily. The first way is to simply cast a float as an integer, and that automatically rounds the number down to the nearest whole number. Let's show how that works. So here, this is for 30 mils per mile. And then here, we want 10 mils per 3 completed miles. So we need to work out how many 3s are in miles. So we need to go miles divided by 3, right? But that gives us a weird number with a fraction. Because every time you start dividing a number by a number, Python will automatically turn it into a float. Give it some decimals. And if it's 16, like our input at the moment, it is going to come out with a weird fraction. So I don't want that. All I have to do is go int, and that turns this number into a whole number, into an integer, and it automatically rounds down. So all I have to do is say mils plus equals, and then this is already rounded down. Oh, hey Sammy, what are you up to?
Daddy, I'm already on my second page.
You still writing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you keep on.
Talking about the second day.
Okay. Well, you're getting a lot of hearts, Sammy. So you have some fans coming, saying hi to you. Say hi, Sammy. All right. Sammy needs to continue doing her homework. So you go keep on writing, okay? Have a drink, have a little bit of a break, and then keep on writing. All right. So we need to get our thanks for everyone's likes. So here we got our mils plus equals the integer version of miles divided by 3 multiplied by the number of mils. So 10 mils. Okay? And that is one way of immediately getting the rounded down value. Okay? Of course, the other way is to actually use the math rounding method. So we go import math, and then we say mils plus equals math.floor miles over 3 multiplied by 10. Both of these are interchangeable. Both of these work. Okay. Control S to save, F5 to run, and then you'll see that it is now working well. All right. Feel free to ask me any questions. If I'm too slow, too fast, feel free to let me know. I know some people here are experts, so if I made a mistake, feel free to let me know as well. All right, let's have a look at Chrome. Let's have a look at a second OUCC challenge question. It's a little bit harder. Pig Latin. Pig Latin, I know, is quite a popular challenge, but it always helps to revisit popular challenges because you always get them in exams. Now, in this example, we just need to make sure we're able to split our logic between two main things. Whether our word starts with a consonant or a vowel. And one of my very first tests when I was a junior developer, when I was applying for a job, was a test to count how many vowels were in a string. And it's a simple test, but even with a simple test, your employer or your boss or your client can see the different kind of approaches that you do. For example, a very new programmer might just say, if the letter equals A, or if the letter equals B, L if letter equals C, L if letter equals D, and have a massive line of code, right? Not all developers understand the value of strings and lists and shortcuts in order to make them work. Because remember, a good programmer is a lazy programmer. You don't want to be the hard-working programmer that writes hundreds of lines of code. You want to be the lazy programmer that writes 3 lines of code that solves everything. Okay? So lazy does not mean silly or not smart, right? Lazy means that you are super smart. You just want to use the least amount of effort to do the most amount of work. We don't want to be the hard-working programmer. So let's have a look over here. So the first challenge is all done. We're going to now do Pig Latin. Okay. Define. I'm going to call it the Pig Latinizer. And now I'm going to call this original. And then we're going to have the result. And then we are returning the result. We're going to test 2 words. We're going to test print Pig Latinizer with the word egg, which should come out as egg yay. And then we want to print Pig Latinizer dog, which should come out as og day. All right, so egg yay and og day. Now, back when I was a kid, our teachers used to talk to each other in Pig Latin so that we have no idea what they're talking about, and we used to have a little bit of a giggle. All right, first thing is to decide, is this a vowel starting word or is it a consonant starting word? So there's efficient ways to do this. Unfortunately, inside a string method, there's no string method that says if this is a vowel or if this is a consonant. Because if it was, then it would make things a little bit even easier. But of course we don't. So we need to make our own version. Okay. There are string methods to detect if it is letters only, or numbers only, or integers, or special characters. But there's nothing that says, is this a vowel or a consonant? I reckon that Python should come out with a method to do that, but I digress. Let's say vowels equals A, E, I, O, U. And then we can, well, you know what? I'm just feeling A, E, I, O, U as well. I'm going to do uppercase as well. So now that we have a string A, E, I, O, U, for vowels, we are going to loop through find the first letter of our original and see if it starts as a vowel. Okay, is val starter. And we're going to set this as a flag, a boolean that says it's false. If at any point we've discovered that it starts with a val, we switch it to true, and then we don't do anything if it is an else. Okay, so we say for val in vals, if original 0 equals val, then is val start equals true. All right, let's break this down a little bit. So some people would know that this is or what this is doing, but I'll explain anyway, in case you're watching this as a replay, or if you're a newbie who's coming into the chat for the first time, into the stream for the first time. So for val in vals, I don't need to use val as the iterator here. I can use I if I wanted to, or J, or O, or whatever. Okay, for val in vals, I do that because I am iterating through vals, which is actually a string. Usually we call these variables with an S, with a plural, if we see a list, right? But why do I call it vals when this is a string? Well, it's because a string is actually very similar, and in most cases pretty much identical, as a list of characters. And that is why you can index through a list the same way you index through a string and loop through each item. Okay, so in a list, I'd be able to loop through each item in the list, and in a string, I can loop through each character in the string. So I'm treating the string like a list. So for our val in vals means that every item in this string turns into val. Okay, so in the first loop, it's going to say that val equals A. Second loop, it equals E, I, O, U, then capital A, E, I, O, U. Okay. And then if original, open square bracket 0, close square bracket, equals val, that means that if the first letter of original is equal to val, then I set it so that is val start equals true. Right. So now we can find if our if our word, if our original starts with a vowel or a consonant. If is val start, then it's super simple. Result equals original plus hyphen yay. Right? Super simple. Control S to save, F5 to run, and then you see egg yay. Woo! All right. It says egg yay yay. Now we need to do it for the else. Okay, now we need to do it for a consonant starter. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, by the way. If anything doesn't make sense, feel free to jot your thoughts down. All right, so now we need to do the else. Else, it's not going to start with a vowel, which means it starts with a consonant. This is where we can look into our string methods. Now remember, a few weeks back we were looking at string methods. It's really important that you are very used to checking your string methods. So here we're going to go W3 schools Python. And then the string method that we are going to look at, Python strings. The method that we're going to look at is how we slice a string, right, to get a section of a string. So to get a section of the string, we use So you can split it, but actually what we're trying to do is we're going down. I just need to find it so that you can see that I'm not making this up. Capitalize, case fold. Where do I slice? Oh no, you don't slice with a with Python. Sorry about that. You don't slice. You just get the index. Sorry, I was thinking C++ and Java for a second. All right. So all you have to do is, because we need to get the second item from the second letter from our original, we need to just have an open close square brackets with the index in which we are starting with. So we say result equals original open square bracket 1, because we're getting the second letter all the way to whatever is at the end. We just close it. We're after the colon plus a hyphen plus the original first letter. So here we go, original 0 plus AY. Okay, so this is going to be an amalgamation of the original word minus the first letter plus the hyphen plus the original word's first letter, which is the consonant that we removed from the other bit, and then plus AY. All right. Control S to save, F5 to run, and we have Eggie and Ogday. There we go. Super simple stuff. Does anyone have any questions they want to bring up from OUCC or any other coding homework or anything like that that you want to link to me in the chat, or you can type it in the comment and I will try to explore it for you. Otherwise, I'm going to open up our data sets, set data types, and then we can have a look at those kinds of groupings. Everybody's very quiet, which means that we are going to have a look at sets. All right, let's have a look at our documentation. And there's also, like, I really like W3 Schools for documentation because inside there's all these different examples as well. You can also use the official Python documentation. If you are a little bit older, you can look in python.org, okay? Python.org, and then there's documentation here, okay? And then there's Python docs. But you know what? I don't like the official Python docs here as much. It's just a little bit harder to navigate. But you know, it's useful if you want to look at this one. I still really like the W3 Schools one because it's got everything nicely formatted in the navigation menu on the left hand side. Okay, but of course, whichever one works for you works. So look at Python sets. All right, we got apples, bananas, cherries. So sets are used to store multiple items in a single variable, and the most important thing is that they are unordered, unchangeable, and unindexed, which means that you can actually have a way to create a set that is unchangeable like a tuple. But unlike a tuple, it is also unordered. So why use a set? Well, the less features it has, so it's unordered and unindexed and unchangeable, the less of these features it has, the faster it is for Python to run it. So when you are doing a variable in a big Python program, the easiest one to use is a list, right? Because the list is fully fledged. It's got every single thing. You can order them, you can list them, you can change them, you can index them. But then, if you have lists everywhere in your Python program, it's going to run really slowly. So you add some tuples in there. Tuples, you can't change anything, but you can still order them, okay? And they're still indexed. But if you want it to be even lighter, then you use sets. Sets are unordered, unchangeable, and unindexed, which is pretty cool. Okay. Another cool thing is that because sets are unordered, is that you can never be sure which order they will appear. Like one time you might run the program and then it's going to be in one order, and then you run it again later on, it might be in a different order depending on whatever you've added in the code. Okay. Another interesting thing is that sets do not allow duplicate values, and I think that is one of the main utilities for sets. If you want to make it so that they don't duplicate, you don't have duplicate values, sets are very useful. Okay. If you have any specific questions on sets, then feel free to post them up. Otherwise, I'll just do a few of these examples from the W3 Schools site. All right, let's have a look at this. My set equals, and then we're going to go burgers, pasta, and pizza. My favorite foods. Okay, if I go print my set, really interesting thing is that it immediately switched the order of everything. Okay, but the thing is, if I like add a little bit of code, just any code at all, like for I in range 10 point print I, and then run it again, it completely changed the order again. You see? I've got pizza, pasta, burgers, but now it's pasta, burgers, pizza. And the thing is, if I remove the code that I just added and then run it again, it's going to keep the order that I just had it in. So the code changed the order, but then when I remove the code, it doesn't revert the order back to what it was before. And that's why sets are really random. Okay, it is random on the RAM side of things, the temporary volatile memory of your computer. It is not randomized in a way that is predictable. Okay, so keep that in mind. It is truly random. It is not like random at certain with certain seeds. It is fully random, which is kind of cool. And the cool thing is, if I run it the third time, it's not going to change, right? It only changes when you start changing the code. But then when you remove the code, it doesn't revert the change. So something to keep in mind. Okay. Rightio. So we went through a couple of OUCC challenge questions today. We went through the marathon drink question, and then we went into the pig Latinizer. And usually these live sessions are half-hour sessions. They're not like those fully fledged 1 hour classes. But if you ever have any questions from homework, or if you've got any challenges or tests that are coming up or assignments, then please send them through to me either through email or in the chat so that I can prepare the next Thursday's class to match whatever you need me to cover. Okay? Of course, I'm always contactable through Discord and email. So always tell your parents if you need to message me, and then they can message me, or you can message me with their permission. Okay? All right, that's it from us tonight. I hope you had fun. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.